We are often sold the idea that a life of fame and glory is a life worth living. It is worth the Faustian bargain of isolation that we have to pay, and this is the only way to achieve this end. However, the film Marty Supreme challenges this idea by showing us that the metric used to measure success is often arbitrary, and that success is actually rooted in your metaphorical village. Let's get into it.
Life is a war. This is the Forge. Welcome to Steel and Scrolls.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Steel and Scrolls. Today we'll be looking at the film Marty Supreme, which tells the story of Marty Mauser, a young shoe salesman in New York in the 1950s. With a dream of becoming an international table tennis star, he ruthlessly pursues this dream, and in doing so, leaves nothing but chaos and emotional ruin in his wake. He lies, steals, and manipulates his friends and family in order to get what he wants. This includes, but is not limited to, stealing money from his uncle's shoe store at gunpoint, manipulating a married girl that he got pregnant, and emotionally blackmailing his friend to get his share of some money that they had hustled in a bar. After losing to a Japanese table tennis wonder kid at the World Championships, he needs money to go to Japan to reclaim the honor that he felt he lost when he lost the match. This is what prompts him to make all the decisions that he made that isolated him socially. The absolute train wreck that Marty's life becomes is showcased over the course of the film. He feels justified in his actions because he believes that he is destined for greatness. He feels that because he has goals and dreams, that they are worth hurting people that love him. He actually says just this to Rachel, the girl that he got pregnant.
I have a purpose. You don't.
As someone who relates to Marty's high productivity drive, it startles me to see the side effects that the pursuit of one's dreams and goals at all costs can have. I'm a firm believer in the old adage, idle hands are the devil's workshop. I sincerely believe that it is important to have goals and to work to achieve those goals to the absolute best of your ability. However, it was sobering to see what happens when your dreams become your be-all and end-all, especially when it pushes the people around you away. As I was watching the film, I got the feeling that Marty sounds a lot like that one friend that read one too many self-help productivity books. If the film were set today, Marty seems like the kind of guy who would be up at 4 a.m. to be in the gym for 2 hours before starting a 14-hour workday, during which he runs multiple businesses, because according to modern hustle culture, this is the only way to live a fulfilling life. Make as much money as possible so that you can travel or whatever. We've all heard inspirational quotes like, live like most people won't so you can live like most people can't. This seems like sage advice, but I think something darker awaits us if we aren't careful. Dave Ramsey often uses this quote as an instruction on how to get out of debt.
I've had it. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
I love this advice when it comes to spending money prudently and eliminating debt from our lives. However, when quotes like these are used to justify insane working schedules for the sole purpose of making more money, I wonder how happy the people who follow it actually are. This idea of working too hard is also repackaged and sold within the modern feminist movement and the more recent manosphere movement. The idea is that we have to put in a Herculean effort at our jobs or businesses in order to maximize the money we make and therefore, supposedly, our happiness. It seems to me that the radicalized feminists believe that the only way women can be happy is if they focus only on their careers and whichever pleasure tickles their fancy. Friends, family, and anything else that doesn't make money be damned. The toxic parts of the manosphere preach that the only way modern men can truly be happy is if they follow the same road. Make as much money as possible, and you'll be an alpha male. Marty eventually realizes that the only way he can make it to Japan is by begging Milton Rockwell to fly him there. Rockwell says that he'll fly Marty to Japan if he brings him a table tennis paddle from his office, pulls his pants down, and gets spanked by Rockwell. Marty stoically endures this humiliation ritual, and he is allowed to fly on Rockwell's plane. This scene symbolizes the degradation and self-harm many people often place themselves through for money, possessions, or status. After abandoning Rachel while she's in labor with their son, and after getting spanked on his bare bottom, Marty finally makes it to Japan for his rematch. The film shows us what happens when we eventually reach these goals. After a tough, brutal match against Koto Endo, Marty eventually emerges victorious. He had done it. He had achieved his original goal of becoming the world's greatest table tennis player. Except he didn't. You see, he was not allowed to compete at the World Championships that year because he had entered too late. He may have beaten the current world champion, but that meant nothing in the world rankings. Endo would probably still go on to win the championships that year and be recognized as the best player in the world. Marty's goal ended up being so arbitrary, if you think about it. Beating your nemesis at a fake table tennis match to drive attention to your corporate sponsor isn't exactly a lasting legacy. Your target net worth, desired job title, or vague dreams like traveling are often just arbitrary ideas and numbers that we have in our heads. There isn't an inherent logic behind these abstractions. They're just something that we decided will bring happiness. Now don't get me wrong, there's nothing inherently wrong with working towards a certain job or building a business. I think they can be noble pursuits. However, I think they become detrimental when the money and status associated with the job or business become more important than the people you share your life with. Human beings have known for thousands of years that one can only live a fulfilling life as a human if you live it in community with others. I do not know of a single culture that prioritizes living a life excluded from the group. No human culture has ever thought it wise to completely disassociate the members from each other. If they did, they died, and this is why we developed our reliance on interaction with other humans. I think this is why, when we make it to our deathbeds, we don't care nearly as much about our KPIs or net worth as we do seeing our loved ones one last time. The final scene of the movie shows the human need for a tribe so profoundly. Upon returning to the US to assume his responsibility as a father, Marty immediately goes to see his son. He is overcome by emotion and he starts weeping joyfully. I think this scene demonstrates how surprisingly simple it is for us to find great joy. There is some joy to be had in reaching one's goals, but it pales in comparison to a life spent in community with others. Seeing every country on earth will not bring the level of satisfaction that seeing your friend overcome challenges or your child taking their first steps will. Marty shows us this. He was ecstatic when he finally reached his goal, but it was nothing compared to the joy he felt in seeing his son for the first time. I think the central lesson is this, that the mundane spent with others is better than the supreme spent alone.